Hey pals, welcome back. So as you can probably tell, I am losing my voice. I went to a wedding last night and it was a lot of fun, but obviously I'm paying for it today. I was going to wait a couple of days to let my vocal cords recover to make this video. However, I actually need the product in this box for an ongoing project. So I'd really like to get this unboxed today so that I can start, going through the onboarding process with, moving all of your existing settings and files over to a new MacBook. So in this box, I have a M1 Pro MacBook Pro. I haven't quite got used to the naming yet of that. I'm not really sure why Apple keep trying to put the word Pro and everything, but here we are. And yeah, this is going to be taking over my main work machine for all of my creative projects, including client videos, and obviously photo editing for things like Instagram. So yeah, let's get on with it. Right, so I actually bought this from Amazon, as you can see by the box in front, partly because of stock. Obviously Apple sell out really quickly on their own website, but also Amazon are offering 0% finance at the moment, in the UK at least. So, if you're like me and you want to spread the cost out over a few months, it's a really nice way of doing it at a relatively affordable rate. I'll leave a link down in the description for both the 14 and 16-inch models, so that you can check those out if you want to do. I've already spoken to a few people on Instagram who have had trouble getting stock, and I've directed them towards Amazon already. But I'm sure there are other retailers. Obviously, it's nice to buy it from Apple directly, but that stock allocation gets given out to a really wide array of stores. So depending on where you are, I'm sure there'll be plenty of stock available too. So opening up the box is another box, so let's just skip ahead to that. I'm sure there's going to be a nice big pile of rubbish next to me there. Hoping that this is the way to do it. Obviously there's the pull tab, so I think we're in business. Check that out. Nice bit of packaging design. I don't think there's anything in there that I need to worry about, so let's just get rid of all that. And here we are. So here it is. This is the 14-inch MacBook Pro. So this is essentially a base spec M1 Pro. I didn't add any extra RAM or didn't go for the M1 Max chip, for example. I'm usually pretty happy with the base spec. In any given year, it usually does everything I need it to. And for things like additional storage, I usually just use external hard drives anyway. That's just the workflow that I work with. So, as long as it's got a pretty robust spec sheet, I'm usually in the clear. So yeah, no major changes in terms of the packaging. You still got the classic minimal Apple packaging there with plastic on the outside. However, I'm interested to know what changes they'll have made on the inside, given that they're now a very environmentally friendly company, supposedly, as we've seen with the iPhone boxes and accessories. Okay, so let's go ahead and open this up, and here we go. We have a brand new 14-inch MacBook Pro now. So I'm going to come back to the accessories in just a moment, but let's start with the actual computer. Now, first things first, it's much thicker than my 2018 MacBook Pro. Probably by, I'd say about at least 50% thicker. It feels really robust, and just looking at the design right now, it really reminds me of the old plastic, like the white plastic MacBooks. I never had one, but one of my friends did, and this feels very similar to that. So I wonder if that was one of the sort of design choices for this computer. So just having a look at the actual device itself, I'll turn it so you can actually see the ports. So on this side you have the HDMI, SD card reader, and one of the USB-C ports, which I think is Thunderbolt 4 now, which is awesome. And then on this side, you see all the fingerprints already, I can see them already building up. We have two more Thunderbolt 4 ports, along with the MagSafe charger and the headphone inputs. Okay, so here we go. Oh, auto start, that's very nice. So yeah, that's the MacBook itself. It's a very nice looking machine. Not the biggest fan of the notch, but I'm sure I'll get used to it as I did on the iPhone. The design is a bit more, I don't know, rounded off compared to the old ones. The old machine felt almost sharp on some of the edges, but this is much more rounded off. Okay, so on the bottom there's actually an embossed MacBook Pro bit of text, which actually looks really clean. I like that a lot. However, I'm sure what will happen is that dust and grimy bits will get stuck in this, which I'm not excited about, I'll be honest. The other thing I noticed is that the Apple logo is a lot bigger as well. On my other machine, which is currently plugged in, the Apple logo is definitely smaller, and obviously it doesn't light up anymore, which is a bit of a shame because that's something I actually did enjoy. I remember being in uni, and when you walked into some lecture theatres, you just see a sea of like Apple illuminated logos, and it was kind of cool. I liked it. So yeah, there's not really much else to say about the design. Obviously, the touch bar is now gone, which I'll be honest, I didn't mind it that much. I didn't use it for too many things, but it was always quite responsive. So even things like just changing your brightness, I thought that was quite a nice thing to have a sliding scale rather than just like tapping a button. But I'm sure I'll get used to having just function keys again. It wasn't one of those features that I relied on that heavily. It was just nice to have. So yeah, I think with the overall keyboard improvements, I think this is obviously a step up from the older machines. And yeah, I'm looking forward to getting stuck in with obviously all of the new performance improvements. Things like Final Cut Pro and Lightroom is probably where I'm going to see those performance benefits most. I'm really looking forward to using some of the larger file sizes from my Sony Alpha cameras. I'm sure are going to be a much easier process to manage on this machine compared to my old Intel MacBook Pro. So yeah, let's put this to one side for the time being, and then diving into the accessories that come with it. Obviously MagSafe is now back, which is something I wasn't really missing, I'll be honest. I quite like USB-C and Thunderbolt for everything, but hey, this is a nice little cable. It's braided, which I think is a first for Apple. I don't recall them ever using braided cables on any of their devices actually. Now that I'm actually thinking about it, the good thing about having like a rubber cable, like the MacBooks used to, is that those cables can be cleaned really easily. So, if they're in the bottom of your bag, or if you're taking them to meetings or whatever, chances are it's probably going to get quite grubby in a year or two. And the nice things about the rubber cables is that you can just get like an alcohol swab and just literally rub down the cable. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to do something like that with this. So, just a thought, but this could actually get pretty nasty looking in a few months. So I'm going to try and be considerate of that. Maybe I'll get like a little pouch for this to go into when I'm not using it, rather than it just being free in the bottom of my bag. And then of course we've got the power brick. I'm pretty sure this is either a 96 watt or something similar, that sort of range that comes with this MacBook Pro. The 8-core version of the M1 Pro does not come with the fast charging capable power brick, so definitely something worth considering if you are looking to save a bit of money. Just be aware that you are probably going to lose out on some of the features that make this MacBook the best one that there's been so far. So that pretty much wraps up for this video. Obviously, every iteration of improvement is quite incremental these days. So there's never really that much to talk about that isn't something that most people haven't already experienced in their existing machine. I keep my devices for a few years, so when I do get to an upgrade, it usually is quite a big thing for me. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to putting this machine through its paces as well, as my own content production needs increase. Obviously I'm going to need a machine that can accommodate all of those files and the software that sort of supports everything that I do. So I think this is going to be a really exciting time for people like me who are obviously in the market for a really capable small laptop. Hopefully I'll have made a recovery in the next few days, but if you want to see more of my content that doesn't rely so much on my voice, please come check me out on Instagram where I post a lot more frequently. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.